Hello, welcome. I guess we can start. And just before I officially start, I would love to bring up some housekeeping notes. During the webinar, we want to make the experience as interactive as possible. So if you have any question or anything you want to ask, you want to comment, feel free to utilize the Q&A session on Zoom, and we'll be actively monitoring your questions and your comments. And then at the end, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session just to address all your questions. And lastly, the whole webinar will be recorded. So if you would like to receive the recording and presentation, feel free to reach out to us afterwards. We'll be happy to share upon request. That's all. And let's get started. To start with, the first thing is to thank you guys for joining me at the session today. And my name is Susu, and I'm a senior project consultant at BONARD. I'm currently working in BONARD's China office. And as some of you might already know us, BONARD China branch has been providing market insights and assistance with institution, education groups, associations, and also program providers with our in-field knowledge and market experience. Over the years, we have worked closely with stakeholders across the sector, and we also help them to navigate market changes with data-driven insights. And today, what I'm going to share with you is a research project we recently conducted on Chinese students participating in Asia study programs. And the studies aim to help us to understand how Chinese parents are choosing Asia destination in short-term program sector. And the reason behind choosing this topic is that we noticed some shifts in international student mobility, either in higher education and also in short-term programs. But unlike longer-term decision for higher education, short-term programs are more flexible, which means they allow parents to make quicker choices. And this makes short-term program a very good early indicator of changing market preference. And also, of course, the economic factors are also becoming more important with the rising cost promoting, prompting families. They are seeking for more affordable and nearby options. And before we talk about the result, let's have a look at the study tour market in China to have a general overview or to have some background information. The data we quoted here is from Ctrip's 2024 Summer Travel Report. And for those who don't know, Ctrip is one of the biggest travel platform in China, like the platform for tourism. And you can book hotel, can book flight, and all. Also, you can search for famous sightseeings, and they have a lot of users. So you have the massive database that it can produce this type of report to summarize the trends of tourism. And also it has the study tour, like overseas study tour program on its platform. And based on this report, Ctrip released last year, and there is a 120% increase in Chinese students joining overseas study tours. And this indicates, of course, a strong demand despite the current economic challenges. And also it shows that the average cost has risen by 40% since 2019, like before COVID. And that means that families, even if they are price sensitive, they are still willing to invest in quality experience. And also, we would love to mention that government have been always supportive in this sector since 2013, and there were policies and supportive local government support in the market, which boosts the market also. And on the right side, we put two charts here. These are the charts from Baidu Search Index. For those who are not familiar with that, it's a little bit like the function in Google. It shows the frequency of certain keywords were searched on Baidu search engine, which is the top one search engine in China. And those two charts relieve the stable interest in those two keywords: overseas student tours and education travel. Of course, we did this keyword in Mandarin, but we translate them into English here. And then we include the chart from the period from 2023 to 2025. We can see it's quite stable, but I think we can also notice recently there is a drop after the 2024 summer. Actually, the the true trend is that this topic has been picked in 2018, like very popular, like very frequently searched. And then there's a drop, of course, due to the COVID-19. But after the government has lifted the traveling ban, it has a return to stability after 2022. And given the context that now we have increased demand of overseas study tours, but we have less frequency of searching for related keywords on the search engine. This might suggest a broader acceptance or less worry about short-term study tours. It might be an option for a broader range of families. And then I would love to also share with you the methodology of the study we did. For this study, we actually surveyed 250 respondents, including both student and parents. 30% student over 16 who are mostly the decision maker of where they're going and why they're going. But for those who are under 16, 70 of them were parents. And for those age of students, that parents are the decision maker. And then we also included a mix of tier 1 and new tier 1 cities. You can see Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. And for the new tier 1 city, we included Xi'an and Wuhan because they have a nice population of students, also a balanced distribution of their age, and the education resource plus the educational agencies market is very good too. And then this selection of cities representing an area with strong interest in international education, and it also covers geographically from the south to the north of China. And then as for the age, the most students surveyed were between 12 and 19, like the most of them. This also aligned with the typical short-term program participants. And additionally, we didn't show it on the yes, we did. Additionally, like 37% of the respondents has already participated in an overseas study tour, which means they already had experience, and then they will be able to provide us with some feedback and suggestions, and that we'll be talking about that later. So, giving the context, now we can dive into the key findings. The first question we ask about is the destination preference. For a short-term study tour in Asia, the destination preference is quite aligned with our expectation. You can see Singapore and Hong Kong leading, mostly due to their strong economics and education reputation, and also they have a large Chinese-speaking communities. And there are also other popular choices, including Japan, Malaysia, Macau, South Korea, and Taiwan. And the reason for choosing those, people mostly choose for their unique culture or educational system and safety. And then you can see that Thailand stands out as an outliner, like only 2% people choose it. This is influenced by a recent negative media coverage of fraud and kidnapping incidents. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but this really have a significant effect of the public reception of Thailand as a destination. We heard like cancellation of concert, and also the price of flight is going really low. And then there are less people going to Thailand. And I want to mention this negative sentiment is because this, of course, it immediately influenced the short-term study program decision. And also it might impact long-term study decision too. Because those parents who hesitate about a short-term program or a short stay in Thailand, they might also be cautious about future higher education opportunities there because the impression has already been made. So it is very important to build a positive reputation, or let's say impression of a country as an appealing point. And for Thai institution, now the challenge lies in rebuilding trust, and also like very importantly, promoting safety measures. That will be very essential to regain Chinese families' confidence and trust. And then also there's an interesting trend I want to mention is that though culture appealing, or let's say the reputation of the country, the image of the country is very important, there are not much respondents who choose Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan for a culture reason, and that's because these three regions they share the let's say the same culture roots with China. So instead, people choose this destination because they feel safer there. Anyway, the overall environment of a country really play a very important role in decision making more than just one aspect. For example, the presence of a specific institution or school or company. Um, and after that, we did a city breakdown to see like regional wise if it varies. Apparently, the city level preference for study tour destination is quite, let's say, fairly even. This reflects increased transparency and accessibility of options or information nationwide. However, we can also see some regional patterns. For example, Guangzhou, we can see that it shows a balanced preference compared with other cities. It's quite balanced for all the destination, possibly due to its ties with the Southeast Asia and also its openness to diverse education experience. And in contrast, you can see Beijing, Wuhan, and Xi'an. They seem to prefer established destination with like more mature programs, for example, Singapore and Hong Kong. That's probably due to focus on prestige and safety. And then we can see Shanghai got a higher preference for Malaysia, almost 20%. That could also suggest awareness of it as an affordable quality education hub. And later on, I will introduce you a little research we also did on social media who reconfirm this point. Anyway, overall, what we can get from this question is that study tour providers may not need to 100% to tailor the marketing like significantly by city, as the demand is rather consistent across China. But still, the regional difference in priorities like academic reputation and safety in Beijing and Wuhan versus the culture diversity in Guangzhou should be also considered for like a fine-tuning message when you try to reach out to your target audience. And then the next question we ask is about the preferred program. The result shows that traditional summer and winter program remain the top choices. That's probably because their popularity already established in China and also is aligned with school holidays. And also, there are a lot of different activities like English learning, sport, and art and culture experience and sightseeing under this category. So you have more options. So it's quite easy to understand why people choosing this. And we can see that there's also growing interest in credit courses. That credit courses is mostly academic related. Like when you go to that summer camp and then you can earn some credit that you can use in your school or in your future overseas school. And then also for the school immersion programs. And this might indicate a shift toward more academical focused experience. Like even younger respondents show a clear preference for this program. That was not really expected. Like the children that are so young, like their parents are considering their future education, so they prefer this credit and school immersion program. And then in terms of city distribution, we also had a look the English standalone lesson program and also the visit to certain institution or companies, this type of program are most popular in Shenzhen. While credit-based programs are favored in Beijing and Shanghai. Probably they have more pressure about academic thing over there. And family tours are more common among specific age group, driven largely by parents, of course. And then there are also comments about like overseas study experience. It might differ between the expectation and the true experience, because we also had a look at those respondents who has overseas experience and who hasn't. And the compare shows that those who has been abroad, they prefer ESL program, while those who hasn't been abroad prefer the credit-based option. So that's where we think there might be a different perspective of these programs. And then the interesting in credit courses is that it follows a U shape. Just like I mentioned, really young kids, parents, they consider the credit courses. And then the student over 16 years old, the student themselves, they have certain interest in credit courses compared with those who aged 11 to 15 with lower interest in this type of course. And then we also ask about the course type preference. The preference for course type is quite diverse, with the most popular choices being technology exploration and history and culture. Over half of the respondents selected nature observation too, and outdoor adventure in language learning as their preferred courses options. And there's one thing I would like to mention is contrary to our expectation, the courses about sport and arts, which are let's say, which were the most popular in China and the most mature program type in China, it ranked relatively low in the comparison. And based on what we understand and based on all the conversation we had with the agencies in China, we see that many agencies are trying to promote what they call a specialized program, meaning that they want the program to have a USP, a unique selling point to stand out against their competitors. So program related to sport and arts might become a little bit routine or too popular for them. So they want something new. That could be one of the reasons. And another factor could be related to the destination country. Don't forget, we're talking about Asia destination here. In China, generally associate sport and art with non-Asia countries. For example, art with Italy or France, and sport with, for example, football with the UK. This could also explain the lower preference for such program in Asia destination. And then we ask about a seasonal preference, like when do you prefer the program to start? As expected, most family prefer summertime over the winter time because winter has a shorter break, and then there's a tradition of spending the Chinese New Year in winter with their family, and they don't want to travel that much. And actually, maybe some of you know that earlier in 2024, we have did a similar survey on Chinese students and parents who are interested in short-term program, but in a global destination. And then we compare the two results. The same is that everybody's focusing on summer camp preference, but the difference is that the previous survey shows that most of students and parents, they choose June and July as the most popular month to start their program. But here we can see for Asia destination, July and August both received like 42% of the votes, and the start date preference were more scattered all of the year compared to other destinations. And this, let's say, flexibility shown is likely due to the short travel time because China is in Asia and it's close to those destinations. People feel more comfortable to travel anytime from home because it's not far. And then also, there are some family, thanks to this geographical closeness, some of the family opting for a shorter holiday, not really the summer or winter holiday. They could just go there for a shorter visit in a shorter holiday. For example, we have the Labor Day in May, or we have the National Day in October. Anyway, it just gives the ambience of more flexible compared with the global destination. And then we also ask the program duration. Here is no surprise, and it doesn't need any more explanation. 2 to 3 weeks is the most common and popular duration for this short-term programs. And then we ask about the price range. We've been talking about price sensitivity, and then you can see for the blue line shows how people react to different price range. And then for Asia destination, we can see that more family tend to allocate a lower budget. That's expected. And compared to our previous survey did for English speaking destinations, we can see that fewer family got choose the option for middle range price range. And especially when they're choosing a Asia destination, instead, they either look for a more affordable, let's say cheaper program, or they are willing to pay a premier price, but for a higher quality of offering. And then we also ask about the information source and recruitment channels, like the recruitment, or let's say the recruitment and promoting channel in China is quite similar to like when we compare the Asia destination to the global destination. It's almost the same. The most common source of information for both student and parents are agencies. And they also gather details from study tour website. But when we talk about study tour website, I remember we talked about this last time in our last webinar too. Many providers are actually operating a white label model in China. When we talk about the study tour website, it actually means the study tour website of the agency. Parents usually access program information via the agency's website, where they can find the details well translated in Chinese and organized in the way they're familiar with. And this shows that, and like this phenomenon means that unlike higher education, short-term programs are even more dependent on agency. So therefore, it's quite crucial for providers and educators to be cautious when selecting partners. And are we just bound to rely on agencies on this? Actually, there's another solution is that provider, you can take a more strategic approach by utilizing social media. We're mentioning here because within China, the digital landscape is quite isolated and is not the same than the Western digital landscape. So, even if the direct booking may not happen or may rarely happen on the social media platform, but creating this brand presence or creating the brand reputation that you can control can definitely reduce your rely on agencies for promotion. And also, unlike higher education, short-term provider will have this advantage, or let's say flexibility in partnering with a different type of organization, like travel agency, language training institution, or schools. And those alternative channels also present very solid recruitment opportunities too. And then we also ask about their expectation from a short-term program, or let's say what outcome do they want? It appears that they want some practical outcomes, such as acquiring knowledge and skills. And then I would love to draw your attention to the second most common expectation, that is improving social skill. The social skill is becoming increasingly valued in recent years in China. Parents look for trials like emotional intelligence and also the ability to communicate or to collaborate with others. And then they might expect this type of improvement through some group activities. So with that in mind, the providers can promote this type of program or the type of program that you have, but consider to highlight the social aspect, such as the interactions with children from other country, like the multicultural environment, and also the collaboration between them during the program. And then we also ask about their concerns and priorities. For concerns regarding short-term program, we can see safety, course quality, and team leader quality. Clearly, as the top three. And these are key areas that we should, like providers should emphasize in the promotion. Safety is non-negotiable, and I think everybody know it. Parents want assurance that the accommodations be monitored and all activity are group-based and their travel, like the travel arrangement are thoroughly planned. You can never like overdo for a safety matter. I heard some agencies feedback and also some parents write about that. Like they would appreciate if we could, like the provider could give regular updates on each children's situation during the program, like some individual care, sharing photos or videos, and that will boost parents' confidence and sense of security too. And for course quality, I think that's quite straightforward. I'm not going to explain that. But lastly, the quality of the team leader. I would say this is a point that some educator might ignore sometimes, but it's very, very important too. For example, when promoting, educator can highlight the qualification or the profile of a team leader or even put a photo of the team leader that will largely, let's say, reassure parents that the program maintain like a high standard. The parents will know that with whom their children will be with during the whole period, they will feel so much safer. And then satisfaction and suggestion. This page is what I was saying, the feedback from those who had experience in Asia destination for a short-term program. We can see that result shows that the satisfaction level, we cannot say it's very high because they are still 20% expressing dissatisfaction or rating the experience as average. And this actually points to a lack of market regulation and inconsistent product quality that's possible. And also the diversity of program and parents complicates this whole effort. And this might lead to a lower consumer satisfaction too. And also, the program offered may differ from how they are marketed by agencies in China, like due to the translation or the communication, what the parents expected might differ from what the real experience is. So what we could do here is to give a closer communication with your partner agencies and to keep them to make them understand more about your program. That on one hand they can target more precisely the potential student for your program. And secondly, the more information they know, they will be more confident to mention your program to their students. And then we can have a look at a suggestion for improvement. It focuses on service attitude and itinerary design. Well, agencies communication and after-sales service are very crucial. As you see, the service attitude, most of the parents apparently they don't speak that much English, so the communication is mostly between parents and the agencies. So again, it's very important to partner with the right agencies. Or there's an alternative. Providers can also consider to hire a Chinese staff, and that you get control of the quality of your service attitude and everything, and it will easy the whole process of exploring China market. And this will also, of course, improve the communication and survey quality and help you to establish your brand awareness in Chinese social media too. And then another point very important is that we should better understand the market and use the targeted marketing strategy. This will align the program with the consumer demand, and that will save your resource and just lead you to reach to the right audience more efficiently. And then we also collected some, I call this page feedback, but it's Actually, on one hand, we had some conversation with our industrial friends, some agencies. On the right side, we did a little research on the social media to collect like general feedback that they are volunteering posting on Chinese digital landscape. So the insight from industry agencies is like they told us the most important thing is to target the right age group with tailored programs. And agencies also noted the price sensitivity in the market. That was one of the reasons why we did this research into Asia program, because they mentioned that again and again to us. And also they emphasize that building trust with parents is very, very important, and particularly when their kids are in the program, if you could provide some real-time updates and addressing some concern to ensure parents, that will make them feel more secure, and that could be one of the important highlight of the program. And then about the social media review, we did this review we collected 150 posts on 小红书. In English, you can call it little write book or write note. It is safely to say the most popular social media platform nowadays, and you can receive true comments on it, and there's no filter at all. I suggest you guys to get an account and check it out. It's very cool. And then on this platform, Malaysia was the most discussed Asia destination, and parents' feedback confirms that keeping them updated with activities or exclusive memories or photos or video, that will be very essential. They will really appreciate that. And then there is one voice in social media we want to highlight, is that they suggest children aged 3 to 10, like really low age, like really young kids, they should go to Asia destination for their first overseas experience, because it's close and it's affordable. And I think this is a very good argument. And there are also, let's say, a lot negative reviews about short programs. People complain a lot. But if we look at those complaints, we can see what the problem is. But it's always the gap between marketing and the actual content. Communication and the proper promotion can always fix those problems. Right. And so our suggestion here is a provider, you should monitor this platform, and maybe you can alternate the feedback or to improve your reputation or build up your brand awareness there too. Right. And then we come to almost the last page here. I called it a recommendation, but it's more like a summary or a wrap up for what we saw throughout the study. Well, I believe I saw the name list, so I think some of the participants today are also English-speaking country short-term program providers. So maybe you guys have an interest in Asia program about like how to make your offering more competitive, also just to know them better. So anyway, we will summarize from a more general point of view. I think those information will be useful for you too, because some of the preferences, they are universal. Well, the first one, cost effectiveness. This is a key to establish a strong foundation for the program. Well, this is not to say that we should be on a price wars. That's the last thing we will do, but we should be focusing on meeting customers' expectation and making them feel that the value is worth the cost. That's how we address the cost effectiveness. And the second point is how to enhance this safety communication. Well, if there could be more emphasis on supervision or emergency responses or update, and providers will have a stronger selling point when promoting their program. And additionally, based on the market for Asia program, different program type can attract different customers. That's why we need to know better about the market and then put the right energy and budget about promotion to the target group. And of course, we have to mention the uniqueness of the Chinese market. We have to realize that if you want to capture a certain market share in this large market, there has to be some investment of the, let's say, corresponding effort or budget. For example, to start a social media account or to hire local staff. And finally, of course, as a research company, we deeply understand the importance of data in decision making. I don't know how many of you have already some experience in China or how many of you are new here. But it's not about China, whether in China or other student source markets. Each city, each region has its uniqueness and requires different, let's say, recruitment strategies. And we cannot be familiar with all the markets. And so when we are not quickly obtaining the local recruitment experience, the data will be our best friend. That's the most useful tool for us. Yes, and speaking of data, some of the data in this presentation were actually used from our recently released platform. The name is BONARD Education Platform, and this is an interactive tool crafted to streamline international student recruitment process and also drive revenue growth. And we designed this especially for international student recruitment related teams. And this platform can help the educators to identify like high potential source market and to validate the idea you consider with the up-to-date student visa and enrollment data from more than 200 source markets. And it can also help you to plan your student recruitment travel and target the campaigns. And benchmark the enrollment, visa issuance, and the country performance. And also, at last, with all the information, this platform can also help you to connect with trusted local partners. Well, we put all that function in one convenient place to save the time to keep the efficiency. Also, we'd like to note that we at BONARD Education, we strongly advocate for visa monitoring. That's why, as a new feature of our intelligence platform, we have begun tracking visa issuance data and grad rates. By leveraging these metrics, education provider can better predict student intakes because the visa suggests directly how many students are going where. So this can help the educator to identify markets with positive visa trends and refine recruitment strategy and other strategies too. Well, anyway, if you want to schedule a demo of how to use the platform or explore what do we have on the platform, what features are available, you can now take off your phone and scan this QR code on the right side of the screen, and we will be always happy to give a little demonstration of that. Thank you all for your attention. If you are interested in research like this, you can also follow us on our LinkedIn page, the BONARD LinkedIn page, or you can check our website. You can find some related research and some report of the webinar too. And also some other interesting data and information of the future webinars there. Probably there will be other topics that we'll be interested in. Again, the whole webinar is recorded. If you are interested, feel free to reach out via email. We will be always happy to share upon request. Well, I guess that will be all for today. Thank you guys, and see you next time.